Welcome everyone to the HockeyNorth podcast. I'm your host today, Tyler Crew, and joined with my good friend Brendan Pawliw. Brendan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Another busy weekend at the rink with the Northern Capitals. So, it was nice to take in one of those games over the weekend. Obviously, this other hockey is winding down for the regular season. So, we're just getting to that time of year again where the playoffs are right around the corner. More importantly, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I think it's been a bit of a hectic weekend here. As being a part of the Cariboo hockey program, as all of us are. All three teams were in playoff action: the Northern Capitals, U18 Cougars, and the U17 Cougars. And unfortunately, all three teams got eliminated in their respective matchups this weekend. So. The season's done for the entirety of the Cariboo hockey program as far as the AAA teams go for now. On behalf of the Hockey North team here, I'd like to extend our congratulations to all the players that are aging out on having very good upholding BC Elite Hockey League careers, and the best of luck as they look ahead to their future roles. For some, it's going to be playing some Junior A. For some people, it might be Junior B. Some of the players they might get a look at the Western Hockey League or just straight up to college for the females. So yeah, best of luck going forward. And it was a pleasure watching and covering you guys in your BC Hockey League career.
Yeah, and obviously some of the older players, such as, the Carter Hesselgraves and the Josh Sales uh, Junior A aspirations. I know Sales committed to Black Falls. Hesselgrave is going to the Spruce Kings. So I echo that sentiment in regards to both two of our two of the many 17-year-olds that are aging out. And, like I said, it's getting to be that time of year where you think about the players that are aging out and moving on, as well as those maybe getting an extended look-see at a higher level as we head into springtime.
Certainly. And before we dive into our coverage on all our Northern athletes throughout their respective junior ranks, we'll introduce our guest for this podcast. It's going to be Medicine Hat Tigers forward Cayden Lindstrom, and Brendan maybe touching a little bit on our guest for this week.
Well, Cayden's a hulking power forward from Medicine Hat Tigers, 17 years old, from Chetwynd, very good prospect. He's having a very good season on a Medicine Hat team that's finishing off the Western League year very, very strong. And happy to get him on the podcast. And just nice to showcase, rather, another Northern prospect or another Northern product as he continues on with his hockey journey at the major junior level.
Absolutely. And with that, Brendan, take it away with our Northern athlete update.
Well, we'll start things off here in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Alex Achitwa of the Nipawin Hawks finishing off his regular season with 33 points in 52 games for Nipawin. His last point was March the 7th, one assist against the Battleford's North Stars. Jackson Hassman of the Weyburn Red Wings, 24 goals, 12 assists, 36 points, 136 penalty minutes on the season. For Jackson, Weyburn Red Wings going to be finishing off their regular season this week before punching their ticket into the Western Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League playoffs. Same for the Nipawin Hawks. Another team that's going to be seen in postseason play will be the Larange Ice Wolves. That's Dawson Smith's team, where he finished with a record of 19-11-0-2. 2.47 goals against average, 933 save percentage. So, congratulations, Dawson. And speaking of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League Canalta Cup playoffs, this is how things are shaking down. Hassman and the Red Wings are taking on the top seeded Battleford's North Stars. Alex Achitwa and the Nipawin Hawks take on the Humboldt Broncos. And the Larange Ice Wolves, of course, taking on the Melfort Mustangs and the other series in the SJHL. No Northern products in either team, but we'll give it a mention. Estevan Bruins welcoming the Flin Flon Bombers. To the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Hunter Brown of the Spruce Grove Saints, 39 points in 49 games to end the season for him. Bit of a playmaker this year was Hunter. He had 11 goals, 28 helpers. So setting things up for his line mates was Hunter Brown this year. Entered the regular season on a 3-game point streak where he tallied 4 assists. His teammate Brophy Dunn, also of the Spruce Grove Saints, 13 points in 45 games. He, along with Hunter, are getting a bye initially to the semifinals of the Alberta Junior Hockey League playoffs, which are already underway. Black Falls Bulldogs up 2-0 over the Calgary Canucks in that best of 7. Drumheller Dragons, Canmore Eagles knotted up at 1s. Camrose Kodiaks down 2-0 to the Okotoks Oilers. Whitecourt Wolverines down 2-0 to Decker Moinchin, or up 2-0 rather, on the Grand Prairie Storm and Decker Moinchin of Prince George. So Decker and the Storm, a little bit of work to do there against Whitecourt. Lloydminster Bobcats, Bonnyville Pontiacs tied up at a game apiece. And the Fort McMurray Oil Barons and the Sherwood Park Crusaders also tied up at 1-1 down in the AJHL. To the BCHL now, Nathan Mackey of the Salmon Arms Silverbacks, 48 points in 49 games for him this year. 26 of those points are goals. A bit of a brief homecoming for Nathan this upcoming weekend as the Salmon Arms Silverbacks take on the Prince George Spruce Kings in back-to-back games on a Friday, Saturday down at the Copar Memorial Arena. Diego Johnson of the Merritt Centennial, 17 points in 45 games. He scored on Saturday against the Penticton V's, so congratulations, Diego, on a job well done there. Quinn Disher of Fort St. John of the Cowichan Valley Capitals, still stuck on 8 points in 16 games as the Cowichan Valley Capitals try to trim into the deficit against the Langley Rivermen for the final playoff spot in the BCHL. Aiden Reeves, the former Prince George Cougar, Cariboo Cougar, and PG Spruce Kings, 10-point in 42 games this season for Aiden. He's on the injured list right now as West Kelowna tries to solidify its playoff positioning in the Interior Conference. And of course, let's not forget about the Prince George Spruce Kings. No shortage of northern flavor there. John Harrington leading the scoring with 46 points on the year. Lyndon Macau, 28 points in 48 games for him. 16 of those have been goals this year, so congratulations, Lyndon. We scroll down the list, Jordan Fairley, 39 games played for Jordan. If we take a look at the stat sheets for the goaltenders, 20 wins, 14 losses, 2.88 goals against average to go along with an .892 save percentage. So congratulations, Jordan, on being in between the pipes this season. And of course, one of our athletes, Scott Cousins, 8 points in 33 games this season for the PG Spruce Kings. Western Hockey League, Carson Golder of the Kelowna Rockets, the Smithers product, helping the Rockets clinch a playoff spot this weekend thanks to the losses by the Victoria Royals after getting swept by the Prince George Cougars. Carson scoring last on March the 8th in a game against the Prince George Cougars, which was a Cougars victory. Golder 51 points in 61 games. Smith Redmond of the Saskatoon Blades, 2 helpers in 39 games this year. He last played on March the 1st for Saskatoon. His teammate and McBride product, Tanner Molendijk, 35 points in 62 games this season. So congratulations on the good efforts there, Tanner. He had a helper in a game on March the 10th against the Prince Albert Raiders in Prince Albert, which was a 6-2 victory for the Blades. Miguel Marquez of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, the Prince George product, 17 points in 55 games. He scored against the Regina Pats in a 5-4 victory in overtime. So congratulations, Miguel, on lighting the lamp there. His teammate and Chetwynd product, Hayden Smith, 16 points in 62 games this year for Hayden. So the Hurricanes currently sitting in 5th in the Eastern Conference, thanks to the contributions of Smith and Marquez, as well as the rest of the gang down with the Hurricanes. Cayden Lindstrom, who's going to be our guest this week, 37 points in 55 games for him as Medicine Hat looks to solidify their spot in the Western League playoffs very, very soon. Terrell Goldsmith of the Prince Albert Raiders, of Fort St. James, 9 points in 54 games this season. Terrell, of course, getting back healthy for Prince Albert after missing that BC road trip to begin the new year. Fisher O'Brien and Cayden Brown of the Prince George Cougars. Fisher, 11 points in 49 games this season for Prince George. Cayden Brown, 29 points in 61 games this year. Cayden held off the score sheet against the Vancouver Giants and on Saturday against the Victoria Royals. On the Friday game, though, which was an 8-3 stomping over Victoria, he did have 2 helpers in that game. Fisher O'Brien, for his part, also having an assist against Victoria. So congratulations, Fisher and Cayden. In the Western Hockey League, Leighton Feist of the Regina Pats, the Dawson Creek product, 17 points in 62 games for him this year, as Regina sitting in 6th in the ultra-competitive Eastern Conference. Nico Mijatovic of the Seattle Thunderbirds, the 18-year-old Prince George product, 53 points in 62 games for him. So we take a look at the game-by-game stat sheet for Nico. Seattle unbeaten in their last 16 games, 15-0-0-1. He had a goal and a helper in a game against the Seattle Tri-City Americans, as well as another goal against the Everett Silvertips. So Nico putting up the points for this very stacked and championship caliber roster of the Thunderbirds. Ethan Semenuk of the Vancouver Giants, 22 points in 49 games for him. Scoreless over the weekend for the Giants, but a very competitive overtime victory for Vancouver against the Prince George Cougars on Sunday. Cameron Schmidt also playing in that game, his first home game as a Giant. Saw some minutes late, still just the 1 goal on 3 games this year for the Giants. And just taking a look at the Canadian Sports School Championships down in Penticton, the U18 and the U17 championships start early next week with the championship games taking place on the 19th of March. So good luck to all those teams involved, as well as all the northern products on those rosters. Of course, Chase Harrington with the Delta Hockey Academy, top-ranked prospect. Spokane Chiefs, Haley Armstrong, Maria Eyre, Casey Dittner on the female side, along with Brooke Norcus and a whole slew of others. Canada West men's hockey, the draw and bracket have been announced for the Women's Hockey Championship. Mount Royal Cougars and the UBC Thunderbirds are the 2 and 8 seeds in that tournament. That gets set very soon. And of course, Josh Mazer and the Calgary Dinos, the top seed heading into the 2023 Cavendish Farms University Cup with the Calgary Dinos. They will kick things off against UPEI next at the end of next week. So good luck to Josh in that tournament as he tries to claim a national title with the Dinos, along with former Prince George Cougar and fellow Calgary product Tyson Upper. So there you have it. That's our Northern Hockey Roundup for this week.
Awesome. Thank you, Brendan. And we'll head into our breakdown, or I guess the summarization of this weekend for the Cariboo hockey program. We touched on it a little bit. We break down the series. The Northern Capitals, they lost their these series is a best out of 3 for the BC Elite Hockey League. So the Capitals, they lost 2 of those 3 games, so they are eliminated from the playoffs as a result at the hands of the Greater Vancouver Comets. The U17 AAA Cariboo Cougars, they were in round 2 this weekend. Round 1 was last weekend, where they eliminated the Greater Vancouver Canadians in 3 games, and then subsequently lost in 3 games to the Okanagan Rockets in round 2. And then for the U18 AAA Cariboo Cougars, this weekend was their round 1. They were also playing the U18 Okanagan Rockets, where they lost in 2 games. So it was a weekend sweep there for the Rockets. And that'll pretty much summarize it for likely our last Cariboo Hockey Weekly update until next season. So thank you for staying tuned for that. And I'll pass things back over to Brendan to introduce our interview with Cayden.
Well, our guest for this week, as I mentioned earlier on in the podcast, none other than Medicine Hat Tigers scoring forward, Cayden Lindstrom, the 17-year-old out of Chetwynd, having a pretty solid second WHL season with the Tigers, making an instant impact for head coach and general manager Willie Desjardins, the Chetwynd product. As I mentioned, 37 points in 55 games. Medicine Hat, one of the hotter teams across the Eastern Conference and in the WHL for that matter, as they try to lock down a playoff spot. And in the interview, I talked to Cayden about growing up in Chetwynd, his recent success on the ice with the Tigers, and as well as obviously living life down in southern Alberta. So without further ado, here's my chat with Medicine Hat Tigers forward and Chetwynd product, Cayden Lindstrom. From Chetwynd all the way to Medicine Hat, Cayden Lindstrom is a monster on the ice for the Medicine Hat Tigers. And without further ado, he is my next guest here on the Hockey North podcast. Welcome to the show, Cayden.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, Cayden, anytime. Cayden, you're having some great success on the ice here for Medicine Hat under head coach and general manager Willie Desjardins. 30 points in about 45 games so far this season. Just maybe talk about what's going right for you on the ice with the Tigers.
I don't know. I just been competing pretty hard and just working in practice. So I think that's really helped me during the games, and just the coaching and everything's really helped me and stuff like that. So yeah.
You got a bit of a taste last year as a 16-year-old, getting 6 games in towards the end of last season. What did that initial experience kind of give you in terms of what the expectation and what the level of play was going to be like heading into this year at the WHL level? And how did that kind of really motivate you in your summer training?
It just showed when I first came up. I played a couple games, obviously, and it just I just seen how fast the game was and how much more physical it was than obviously the midget league or the U17 league. And it just really got me thinking of what I needed to work on throughout the summer, and that's what I did to work on it to get myself better and to prepare for the season.
Now, when you first got called up, what was it by the Tigers? What was the first big difference that you noticed in terms of what you were doing at the U17, U18 level compared to what initially opened your eyes in major junior?
Definitely just the speed and the physicality everyone was playing at. Everyone was just so much bigger and faster and just smarter, I guess, and just they knew the plays before they got the puck, and I think that was just the big difference between the two.
Who are you playing with right now in Medicine Hat?
Who am I playing with?
Yeah, on your line, yeah.
I'm playing with Dallin Moline and Hunter St. Martin.
Just maybe talk about, what kind of makes your trio click on the ice with the Tigers, and what maybe you're asked to do by Coach Desjardins in terms of whether it's offensive success, checking the other team's top line, or keeping in check other offensively gifted players from the other team. What's kind of the role or the understanding between the three of you?
Well, me and Moline have probably stuck together the longest. We just play that power forward role, and I feel like we produce quite a bit for our team, and it's been good. We play against really any line, no matter how skilled they are, how good they are. We just try and outwork them and just be the power forward line we are. So yeah.
Do you feel like you kind of play that meat and potatoes kind of game where you dump the puck in the corner, you're physical, you try and wear out the defenseman, and then you just try and, lean on the other players with your size and your strength, and that by the end of the game, you pretty much take it over? Is that kind of the game plan every night?
I guess so. Yeah, it's just we don't really like to dump it in, but when we have to, we'll definitely do it, and we'll wear down their D when we can. And we just try to make plays as well, and I think we're pretty good at that. So yeah.
How much of a green light do all the players have from Willie in terms of puck position, making plays with the puck, and just kind of getting that green light to create offense? Because it's not just you that's contributing; it's a bunch of guys that are feeling out
their offensive confidence here with the Tigers?
Yeah, it's just, well, obviously when you have to dump it in, you have to dump it in. But he's really he lets us be really creative and just like let us play our own game. But he also has a bit of structure for us. So whenever we don't get a puck, and he's honest about that. And if we like turn it over, he's honest. But if we don't, if we make good plays, he always praises us when we do that. And he just doesn't really like, yeah, he's good about that.
Willie, of course, has a lot of ties to Medicine Hat. He was with the Tigers previously when, they were very dominant in the mid to late 2000s. They're winning that WHL championship not too long ago. And he's had some very skilled players over the years, and whether it's Chris Russell, Darren Helm, Hunter Shinkarik, Emerson Edom, just maybe talk about, the standard and expectation, and just knowing what the expectation is of you every time you put on that jersey for Willie.
Yeah, I just really try and do my best and try to exceed those expectations that he has for me. And yeah, I just try to do my best out there and play as hard as I can, and just do my role on the team, and just, yeah, that's about it.
What's the one thing that you've kind of learned from him? He's coached pro, he's coached the junior game, he's won at almost every level he's been at, and he has that NHL experience being a head guy and an assistant. What's kind of the one or two things you've kind of learned from him just based on his experience level?
Yeah, you just if you're consistent every night, you'll do good things. So yeah, he's definitely said consistency a lot to me, and just working hard every shift, and just staying after practice and stuff like that, putting in the extra work really helps and stuff like that.
What's the one part of your game that you're trying to refine or get better at?
Probably just like my consistency again, just working every shift, and just like, yeah, producing as much as I can, and just helping my team out as much as I can.
Okay. Now let's wind the clock back a few years. You're originally from Chetwynd. Just maybe talk about how you first got involved in the game, how you first started playing, as well as maybe any minor hockey memories that come to mind for you.
Yeah, so I just grew up in a smaller town in Chetwynd, BC. So there's a lot of outdoor rinks and stuff there, and my mom would always just take me to like the public skating or something, or the outdoor rinks to teach me how to skate. And I just kind of fell in love with it there, and just the small hockey community, just a couple good hockey players coming out of there. I just kind of just look up to them, and just see where they ended up. And yeah, I just kind of try to follow, or not follow, but like, just play enough for as long as I can, and just see how good I can get, I guess.
Yeah. At what point did you kind of feel that you had a chance to become a pretty solid junior hockey player? Some players kind of see it right away. Sometimes it takes a few years, and you get the odd, late bloomer here and there through the development system. When did you kind of feel you had a chance to be a WHL caliber player?
Probably my first or second year Bantam. Yeah, I played at Delta, and I thought I did pretty well there my first season. I mean, it was a COVID year, so we only got 10 games in, but I thought I did pretty well. And then the year after in midget, I did pretty well also. And obviously I came up for a couple of games, and I thought I'd do pretty well in the league. So yeah.
Over the winter here, you suited up for Canada White at the U17 World Hockey Championships there. Just maybe take us through that experience and how that kind of maybe expedited your development at the junior level.
Yeah, obviously going against some of the best people your age that around the world at that tournament was really eye-opening, and just seeing all those players, and it just kind of lets you see like where you're at in your game, and it definitely helped me just with confidence going back into the WHL. And it was just an overall fun tournament to be in, and be a part of Hockey Canada.
Now you're 6'5", you're what would be constituted as, a lanky power forward with some skill. were you always kind of a naturally bigger, taller guy for your age group, or were you or did you hit maybe a bit of a growth spurt when you were younger?
Oh well, I'm not quite 6'5". I don't know why it says that. I'm about 6'2", 6'3" ish, but yeah, I guess I've always been kind of like a taller guy, I guess, and a bigger guy. But yeah.
Did you play any other sports growing up besides hockey? Did you play basketball, baseball, football at all?
I played a bit of basketball in grade school, and then I played a lot of baseball and soccer growing up also.
Yeah. And do you kind of feel like being a multi-sporter and developing and using maybe different parts of your body or your athletic acumen maybe helped you on the ice as well, and kind of seeing things and executing things in maybe a different way if you just played hockey all year round?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think playing different sports while growing up is great. You kind of just see like different aspects of like all those games, and you could put them all together, and like you could use your team differently, or like you could like see the games differently, and just see how it's good.
Let's talk about life in Medicine Hat. It's a smaller city in southern Alberta. They're very close to the Saskatchewan border. I've been through it a few times. Just maybe talk about what's really most enjoyable about Medicine Hat, and there's a lot of tradition there with the Tigers in that city.
Yeah, it's great. I really like it here. It's just all like the it's really good here. All the fans are great. They really like coming to the games and stuff like that, supporting us, and it's good. There's a lot of history here. So it's good.
Yeah. Do you have a specific pregame meal or any rituals or things that you kind of have to do before a game? Otherwise, that to kind of give yourself the best chance of success? Do you, are you a left skate or right skate on first? Do you like to tape your stick a certain way? Is there a certain meal that you have to have before a game to kind of look and feel your best?
I just kind of go left skate first always, and then I go when I tape my stick, I go to toe to heel, and then for my meal, I just usually keep it simple and just go chicken and rice every time, just to stick to the routine of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite NHL team or any NHL players that you kind of model your game after that you looked up to at all?
Well, recently I really been watching Tage Thompson a lot, because I think that's probably who I'm most closest to. But I'd say Toronto. Toronto's probably my favorite team. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your favorite Leafs player?
Probably Austin Matthews. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Now your birthday here is a bit later than the original September cutoff there. You were born in February of 2006. Are you draft eligible not until next year?
2024 is when I'm draft eligible. Yeah.
And how do you feel that maybe that extra year in being a late birthday will kind of help in terms of your development, just having that extra full year of junior? What do you think of that?
I mean, yeah, it's good. It gives me extra time to develop and stuff, and work on some things, work on some of my weaknesses and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Favorite road city in the Western Hockey League?
Like favorite road trip?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been on the BC road trip yet, but so far it's the States road trip was pretty fun. Just going to see all the States teams and play all the States teams. The atmospheres were great, and they have a big fan base there in the States. So yeah, that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Is there a certain division rival that you like to play or you like to beat more than others?
Yeah, just our rival probably with Lethbridge. It's always a good game, always a chippy game. So yeah, they're always pretty close. So probably Lethbridge, yeah.
Yeah. You're one of the hotter teams in the Western Hockey League, like I mentioned earlier on in our interview. What seems to be clicking with your team? It seems to be you're winning games now after Christmas that maybe you weren't quite winning, September, October, November. What's kind of flipped the switch for your team?
Yeah, we've just been more consistent with our lines, and just everyone's just all buying in and just gaining the blues, just dumping it in, and just like playing a more simple game than we did in the first half. And I think that's really helped us with our consistency. And everyone's just been working so much harder and putting in the extra time, and I think our team's just getting a lot better with that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the Eastern Conference are stacked with talent there. I mean, you take a look at teams 1 through 8; they're all over 500. Even teams 9 and 10, you're right in the mix there. There's only like 4 or 5 points separating 6th through 10th in the conference. There's 5 teams vying for the last 3 spots by the looks of things. How much is playing in a top-heavy conference like the East kind of push your team to beat your best every night, since there's really no easy games at all on the schedule?
We just kind of go into every game the same, and we just want to win and just play every team as hard as we can, and that's what we do, and we just stick with them for as long as we can, and when we get a lead against them, we hold it, and just stuff like that. And if we get down, if we get down a couple goals, we don't quit. We just keep going and just pushing until the end of the game. So,
what music's on your iPod right now?
On my phone, just a bunch of rap. So like Drake, Little Baby, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Cayden, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me and being a part of our podcast. And maybe we can talk again in the not too distant future.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, and that was our interview with Cayden Lindstrom, and maybe just a quick summary on that interview, Brendan.
Well, you're always glad when another northern/rural product, is making an impact at the major junior level in the way that Cayden Lindstrom is. For those of you that, haven't watched much of him this year, the big hulking center/winger for Medicine Hat, 6'4", 204 pounds, good frame on him. He's 37 points in 55 games, like I mentioned, +9 on the season, 5 power play goals. So Cayden getting rewarded for his efforts under head coach Willie Desjardins, and is also a very big face-off guy for the Tigers as well, winning 396 draws this season for Medicine Hat. So a Swiss Army knife of sorts for head coach Willie Desjardins down in Medicine Hat, and nothing but good things, I think, is ahead here for Cayden Lindstrom as he continues that upward trajectory, as they say, with the Medicine Hat Tigers. And it was nice to finally catch up to him and give him some much-needed exposure for his solid season in the Western Hockey League.
Most definitely. Thank you very much for that, Brendan. And that'll do it for this episode of the Hockey North podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.
I need to know.